It's Tech Talk time. Today we're going to talk a lot about graphic processors and how they've been put into use in big data centers for either a new gaming platform or for artificial intelligence and all the things in today's technology news. Stick around. Welcome back. This is Tech Talk. It's May. No, it's March. The winds of March. And we just got done talking about pruning trees, and now we're talking about the technology that we all use every day. As usual, I went through the news, grabbed a bunch of slides, and we're not going to do it as Jeopardy. We tried that once.
Yeah.
Wildly successful, but today we're going to go over some of the news headlines and follow the discussion as it goes through. It's not a consumer electronics show, it's not pre-Christmas, so we don't have a real hard theme to follow, but we'll go through some of the news and see where it takes us today.
We have, yep.
Okay, I know I'm the downer of the whole group talking about all the breaches, and our promo that Pat prepared said, we lost our data. Do we really care anymore? The new breach that occurred with Citrix, I think, is notable because it started a whole new trend in how they try to attack a company.
Yeah.
And we've heard over and over and over again that our data has been put at risk. And in this particular case, they use something called password stuffing.
Okay.
Or spraying. And instead of just brute force looking for a particular vulnerability, a zero-day exploit in an information system, what they did was they just kept saying, here's a couple of attempts to log in. They wait, they try a couple more, and they just stagger the attempts to break in. And that password spraying is more difficult for an intrusion detection system to identify.
Sort of like me when I forget my password.
Well, you go off for a walk, do something else,
Yeah,
try it
Because
again.
you've been locked out for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah, because
again.
you want to avoid the lockouts.
Yeah.
You get enough lockouts on a system, and then it's going to send somebody a notification that this account's been locked out. You may have an event going on.
Yeah. So try and having that automated system try it for only 2 or 3 times. That's typically not going to lock out a system till it's usually like 4 or 5 or 6 usually.
Under the radar.
Is the magic
Under the
magic
radar.
words,
Yeah.
Magic attempts. So having a hacker or some bot try it only 3 times is not going to let that account get locked. Give it another 10 or
They
20
just think
minutes
it's a person like
and then
me.
try it again. Yeah.
And Dwayne, you use the term bot,
Yeah.
and that's something for us to recognize.
Yeah.
It's no longer somebody doing that automatically.
Absolutely
So,
not.
so Mike's
Right.
not sitting in there trying to log in,
Yeah.
waiting for a few minutes, trying to log in again.
Yeah.
These attempts to break into systems are done automatically.
Yeah.
And they're all programmed, and now they're programmed to do spraying.
Yeah, yeah. That whole thing, it's built up to where it's unreal that they're doing it. So, gaming. What do we got on gaming here?
Do you have a gaming console at home?
Excuse me. I do, but it's never used hardly. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I don't.
That's-
Don't like gaming.
That's because your hosts all have gray hair. And
Yeah.
it says an awful lot about us.
I
it's
still
an
got
old
my
point of-
Pong hooked up to my
Yeah.
black and white TV.
That was, yeah.
You got to wait 2 minutes for the
Excuse me,
tubes
guys.
to warm up.
Yep.
So
Y'all
gaming,
probably don't get
gaming
that.
consoles are these boxes that we see advertised all the time, and
Yeah,
all the games are loadable onto those.
And we're talking like Xbox, PlayStation, those type of things.
Sure.
Or
You
even
have the
computers.
console right there.
Absolutely. They're all well known.
Yeah.
And the
and
big
then
problem is, what kind of a connection do you have? What kind of connection do I have? Do I have a faster computer? Because if I can hit that button faster and kill you before you even know it, then you lose.
And then some gamers build custom systems that are bigger, more powerful. And on the last show in February, we talked about a graphic processing card that refreshes the screen and offloads some of the calculations that are involved in the game mechanics. So today, that announcement was that AMD, one of the larger chip manufacturers, is going to work with Google to build a gaming platform called Strata, kind of like Stadium, but it's a Stadia, multiple. Regardless of the device you use, you're all going to be given a certain amount of processor power, a certain amount of memory, and you're gaming in the data center. And then you're just displaying it and controlling it on whatever device you use.
It's more equal access for everybody.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of an interesting pattern or trend. And we've talked an awful lot about data centers, an awful lot about the cloud, and now we're talking about what's the difference between a data center and a supercomputer, and it gets to be kind of a cloudy distinction, because instead of us having a big, huge computer and working on a dedicated system, we're working on an instance of a software program that is being hosted in clusters, and they're distributed around multiple locations regionally.
So I can get my Commodore Amiga back into gaming.
Yeah, you can now at that.
So, Kingsley, I got a little question about this whole thing. So with the gaming thing, I've recently just done some changing on our TV systems at home, and instead of doing cable, we're doing more streaming.
Cut the cord.
Cut the cord, right. So I've now got two TVs streaming the same channel, but they're literally a minute or so apart in content. So I can be in this other room, or actually the day I did this experiment, the TV that I was watching was ahead of the TV my family was watching. So I would watch it, and then I'd go in and I'd go, oh wait, watch this, they're gonna die or they're gonna get beat or whatever. And they're like, what are you talking about? And about 30 seconds later, that happened. And they're like, how'd you know that? And I'm like, it's intuition, I know what's gonna happen. Knowing that I'd already seen it a minute ahead of time.
Okay.
Now,
Is that the one that you turned on first, or
actually, no.
are those reversible, or your other TV
I
just
don't-
faster?
No, I don't think so. One was a TV that had the smart app integrated, and the other one was the actual device attached to the TV.
Apple
okay.
TV,
Yeah,
Roku,
yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
So
something
that
like
one
that.
was slower with the.
No, that one was faster. That actually had the hardware that I just attached to the TV.
How did you
But
start
not
them at the
always.
exact same time? How did you
I
say?
did not.
Okay, I think
We were in the living room watching it, and it was coming in a matter on there, and then I just got up and went in the other room. I was going to get me a drink of water and a glass of water, go in there, and in our dining room there's a TV, so I just turned it on in there, and I was going to watch something else, but it just so happened that same channel was on right then when I opened the app, and I just noticed that I could hear them both, and they were out of sync. And I was like, well, wait a minute.
okay.
I didn't hear that in there, and I've already passed it here, so I got to
your-
watching them. And
Your
they stayed
account's
in
only
there.
allowing you to watch one stream at a time, but the streams are not synchronized.
Exactly. They're not synchronized. So would this be a way that a gamer, now this is how I'm going to bring it back into the game, can somebody do that? And I have no idea. That's why I'm asking. That's why I'm asking the expert here. Could I play the same game simultaneously, but this one be ahead of you, and I can go, oh, I've already killed you. Move right, quick. Type of thing.
Let us know.
I don't know. That was like, wait a minute, could you do that?
I think for streaming things on demand, I would have expected that you could have launched your account, but maybe watched multiple things, because you can share your account with multiple people.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the fact that you logged into a different device, different devices respond at
Yeah,
different times.
absolutely.
They connect a little bit differently.
Yep.
But it was already playing.
Yes.
That was a surprise to me. But not that big
Yeah.
deal. Yeah.
It just had different horsepower.
On-demand programming.
And I thought maybe they might catch up eventually. Never did the whole evening.
We have a satellite connection, and I have one connected HDMI to the box. I have an RF connector, that's the old antenna connector,
Yeah.
that goes out to the TV in the other room. They're not the same.
No.
It's off the same box, it's off the same satellite, but one has to go through the electronics in order to convert it to RF. One
Gotcha.
is going out a path to the HDMI, and they're not equivalent, what's coming down from the satellite is the same, but they're taking different paths to the devices. And I think as far as your Netflix or Hulu or whatever your source is, Amazon, they're coming in real time, but your device path to the display is slightly altered.
Makes sense.
I hope that doesn't bother you too much.
It was really disturbing me. I mean, in a way, you were acting like, I mean, I was a mind genius because I'd run in and say, oh, this is going to happen. They're like, how do you know that already?
It only works for Jeopardy.
Yeah. Here's your answer. That would be cool if you could do that. Yeah. Alex, what is? Yeah. So. All right, next one, web services.
Okay, this is a carryover of the last slide. Big graphic processors are part of the solution in doing big data. And in big data, the slide shows a number of different frameworks, cloud services, deployments. All of the major companies are in this in this space. But it's the chipset itself that's helping deploy that and getting it out. And whether they're doing artificial intelligence, they're answering Siri or Google, queries or something, or they're doing gaming. It's a matter of the data center itself having horsepower and having specially designed and engineered chips to do the heavy lifting.
So do you think this is going to save people money or cost them more for the connection?
Well, it levels the playing field so that the end user device, whether it's a phone or a laptop or a Chromebook, either a Mac or PC, it's all going to be pretty much the
They'll
same.
just say, oh, to get that service where you don't have to use your own computer, if you want to use our computers, then it's an extra $10 a month.
Well, I think it's going to
Because they'll have
cost.
to recover their costs somehow.
I think it's going to cost more in the long run because we're ultimately all of these devices or applications, whether it's a gaming or if it's we're word processing or doing a spreadsheet or whatever, it's all going to be a service that we're going to pay a monthly fee for, monthly, quarterly, however it is, versus just going out to the big box store, buying the game, and plugging in a CD or a DVD or downloading the game and playing it on your console. I never have to buy an update.
Correct.
I could just play that game forever.
And if they
And it will
update
work
if
just
they
fine.
update the game, they update it on one location, and everybody
Right.
benefits from it.
Right.
As a kind of a global look, you're going to be paying for a connection to the internet. You're going to be having a device to connect to it. With all of the heavy lifting being done in a data center, whether you're here or across the globe, everybody's going to have the same access and same experience. And you don't have to worry
Yes and
about...
no. Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Okay.
When you say the same access, I have the same access, but I may not have the same, kind of back to Mike's comment, the connection.
Sure.
So you may have DSL, I might have, dial-up. Even though
It's less information you're sending, so you could catch up a little bit.
But if you had a satellite connection to the internet and you're doing research, you don't have to haul all the equipment out into the field.
True.
You just have to get access to that cloud environment,
Right.
to that game environment. It just takes one aspect of the big picture out.
Yeah, it basically says everybody's going to have the same version of that game.
Sure.
The question, what they don't really care is how you get there. It could be on a cellular data, or it could be through a cable, or it could be that. But that
as
is
we've
where
talked about
that's going
speed
to
in the
hurt
past,
us.
How long does it take to get to the satellite and back? There's a certain amount of latency.
Yeah.
You're going to have a delay. Now, if you're playing a game on that versus hooked up to a fiber to the home internet connection, you're dead.
Right.
Unless the timing is actually done somehow in the data center.
Yeah.
And it
Which,
and eliminates that delay.
The lag.
So it's like everything's on a tape delay, let's say.
Yeah.
it has to
Sort
go
of,
as
sort
slow
of
as
like
the
my
slowest
TV
person.
scenario.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? We'll have
Yeah,
to see.
Yeah. But in essence, it's going to cost us, I think, more. Because we're going to go, well, I want to play this game and we need more bandwidth, Dad, or whoever. Well, okay, we'll call up our provider, add another, $50 onto my bill a month to give me better service.
Or 5G.
Or
something.
or even at that, more of these people that are cutting the cord and going with just straight internet service, you're going to have more bandwidth, which is going to cost us more money.
That is just a general trend across the
Everything,
board.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, everybody wants to have internet.
Yeah.
We don't need a telephone.
Nope.
We don't need to have entertainment. We don't need to have internet. Now it's the internet that provides all of that.
Yeah.
And whether there's some, cost recovery by not having duplication.
Yeah. I just think that I can go buy that game for, we'll just say $50, and I can play that game for a year, and it only cost me $50 on my console if I already bought the console. Now I'm going to have to pay either a monthly or yearly service or a subscription to play that game. I understand it's getting updated, and now I can play against people all over the world. But do I care? I just want to play the game.
I just want to beat the game. I don't
Yeah,
beat
and I'm okay with that. So everybody's different, right?
Go to the store, get a puzzle book, and grab a pencil.
Yeah.
And it won't cost you anything.
I like those too.
Sudokus. Yeah.
They
Don't you want
drive
to be
me
on the
nuts, though.
online game with the headset and be cussing out a 13-year-old?
No, doesn't. I'll never understand them anyway.
But
They
look
use
how
it-
much money you've saved.
By not gaming, right?
By cutting the cord on your cable access or your satellite.
to a degree.
Now, did you guys recognize that as a computer?
No, not by just the sheer glance.
When we talked about the Consumer Electronics Show, we had this slide in there because Google had in their space a quantum computer.
That's right.
Now,
Is there
all
a
of
flux
this,
capacitor in there?
Yeah.
I mean, all of this is kind of beyond me, but the ability to make binary decisions
On their own, yeah.
can be done in quantum mechanics, and we can be glad that somebody's doing research in this. It's beyond me personally, but when those start going into the data centers, it looks like it'll take more room,
Yeah.
but maybe they'll be more productive in terms of the number of cycles of decisions they can make. I don't know.
Be interesting.
This is our conspiracy theory
yes.
plug for this.
Yep.
If you remember, there was a alleged scandal where Facebook lost about 87 million different accounts to a data processing company that may have been used for doing some polling and analysis. Not in the United States, but in the European Union and specifically in Great Britain. This company, Cambridge Analytica, has been brought under investigation. Oddly enough, several of their companies have gone out of business, and it has been reassumed and reformulated by another company. And that the data that supposedly was being wiped clean, everybody's information, there's no proof that it has been disposed of. And some of the laptops that were supposed to have been seized and turned in, they're not being found. And there's check the news. I just think it's interesting to find out what's happening. We're all looking at whether or not Facebook's CEOs go and talk to Congress and whether they understand the model of it. It's just that there's always a sinister dark side that can appear in this. And we know with the data that has been stolen from Equifax, Yahoo, Citrix earlier today, hopefully that won't come back to get us. But there's also a big trend in our security agencies saying that we're under attack.
Yeah.
We're under attack big time.
It's just sad that, everybody always says change your password so your stuff is more secure. We're not the ones losing the information. It's the big guys. They're losing information, not me.
I've had my password taken
Yeah.
several times. See the big block in the middle? That was Yahoo. The one to the left of it was probably LinkedIn. And both of those times my account has been compromised.
By you or from your end or from there?
My password and my username and my information at LinkedIn was harvested by a hack. My
So
username
their
and password
database?
From their side.
from their database. Now, look at the time frame there. That's from 2005 to 2019. So the big action has occurred in the last 10 years. And we're not even done with the decade yet. There's one outlier to the left. But, a lot of this has happened in the last 10 years. And for young people that, let's say are less than 20, this is their more conscious period of their life. They've never had secure information, personal information.
That's true.
They've always been at risk. And it never will end. You know, I worry about our information for campus, you know, getting released.
Yeah.
But the big companies are the ones that have failed.
And should we break up big companies, as this slide is
Well,
talking about?
you and Elizabeth Warren can discuss that. Dwayne thought that they should be broken up. Is that right?
Sort of like Ma
I-
Bell did
I
back
agree.
in the, what was it, 80s?
Yeah, I don't know the exact dates, but yeah.
The European Union broke
Yeah.
up Microsoft because they said that Microsoft shouldn't have a media player that's built into their Windows system, because people should be able to use whatever media player they
Anything they
wanted.
want.
And then they went after the browsers.
Yeah.
And Firefox and Google Chrome and Safari and many others went cross-platform, and today you can put whatever things
Right.
you want to mix them together. People just want to open the box and have it run.
Yeah.
But when you join Facebook and you realize that somebody has harvested your information and used it politically, I'm not so crazy about that. And we still don't know whether Amazon and Google, that handles all of your queries, whether there has been bad things happening.
Yeah. True.
But the question is, when we were talking about telephone systems, they broke down the telephone systems. Now they've re-aggregated again. If you broke up those Facebooks and Instagrams and Snapchats, would they re-emerge?
Yeah. And it could be even down to the other companies.
Yeah. So this slide's for Dwayne here.
Talking about information still.
Oh yeah. So we talked a little bit about the last show about a home
Lowe's
security
type?
system. Yeah. That they decided they were going to disband it, shut it down. And so how do you get rid of, how do you dispose of that device if you're not going to use it again? So, and there's tons and tons of ways of doing it. So it's a matter of
Sort of like,
following the instructions.
do I take my bills and shred them, or do I just put
Yeah.
them in the trash and hope nobody looks
Hope
at
nobody looks at them. Or you could do like what we have here. You know, you can read the instructions on how to reset, which all devices are different. They're never the same. If you just, a lot of times there's a reset button on the back, and people think that'll do it. In most cases, that does not do it. You have to you go beyond like 2 or 3 more steps to do what's called a factory reformat of the things that loses your account information and stuff like that. Usually, it comes back to where the button will just reset the password to let you get back into the device. So they follow all these different rules, Kingsley. But you have a sure step of getting rid of that data. And how is that?
This one's coming back.
Exactly.
Go to your car, place it under the rear wheel, drive over it, and smash it to smithereens. Then properly take it to your local recycling day, which here in Gallia County will be on the 30th down at the fairgrounds. They'll take up to, I think, 4 or 5 cathode ray TV tubes, so
Yeah.
time to clean out your electronics. But you can't trust it. You just can't throw them away, because somebody could grab that device, plug it in, and learn a little bit more about your network,
Yep.
your passwords, and we still talk about denial of service attacks, where somebody goes and they send code and information to these devices like nanny cams and doorbells, and then they get them to attack something on the internet. And just this morning I read about the FBI breaking a number of DDoS rings, so that it's gone down. But school kids could go out, and for $5 they could buy a DDoS attack on their school, so they wouldn't have to take the online test at noon or something. So it's just a fun world.
I say target practice. Get
That
your
would
long,
work.
Yeah, that
get
would
your
work
long
too.
range rifle and a little bit of tannerite, and the
Yeah.
sucker's gone.
Hey,
It's gone.
sure way of getting rid of that data.
So Facebook had a big blowout this week. It went off offline. Dwayne talked about somebody logging in and finding somebody else's account. Other people just couldn't log in. It's not the end of the world. Again, go grab a paperback book and find it. But
Or take a walk. How about
things
that?
things can go wrong. Things can break. It's just that when we're so wired that we're so dependent on it.
Yeah.
This wasn't the 911 system. It was Facebook. Just Facebook.
When you say just Facebook, there's a lot of people that go nuts when that's down, and they live on that all the time, Kingsley. So it's,
If I was doing Facebook Live and I was having a video and it was part of my business,
yeah.
that I could see that. But,
And there's a lot of local businesses that live, I'm not going to say live on, but do a lot of advertising on Facebook, for free, and that's how they get a lot of their stuff. Unlike Google Plus, which used to be kind of like a Facebook thing, if you would.
Google Plus is going away,
Yeah.
but the information never dies. There is something called the Internet Archive, and they like to take snapshots of internet websites so that they live on in history. Google Plus will live on in history at the archive.
Yep.
You have to stay tuned and go there for more.
So tell us a little bit about this genderless voice
Why
that they're
do we
trying
need
to produce.
that?
Well, I changed my phone one time so that it was listening to Australian Dave.
Okay.
Or it was talking to me in Australian Dave.
Yeah.
And I found that I couldn't ask a question properly because it was listening to something sort of in the tone of the genderless Dave.
Okay.
So I don't know about whether it's just the playback voice or whether it makes it more neutral so that it listens, interprets, and then responds in a genderless tone. But now we have
It's not
20
just
different
political
pronouns,
correctness.
that we have to use, for people. In this case, we can take a more neutral tone, not a low baritone or a high pitch, and make it neutral, and it will sound generic. Do we need it?
I tell you
don't know.
what,
As long as I can choose something else, it's fine.
Did we need technology?
Yeah.
No, but I sure do love it.
I'm with Mike on this. As long as I can choose something, because I like to have just a little bit of entertainment in my life.
Yeah.
It's okay to listen to an Australian accent. It's okay to listen to that. This plain stuff is killing me.
Do you want a robotic sound?
No,
No.
Okay.
no.
Okay.
And then, if
I
you-
want that robot to speak in Australian to me. Now, wouldn't that be exciting?
Okay.
Yo,
No.
there, mate.
Hey,
you get your Garmin, I put the Canadian voice on. I was like, hey, which way to Columbus, eh?
Hey,
Yeah, absolutely.
let us know what you'd like to have on the next Tech Talk. We'll be glad to fulfill it and bring it up for our next discussions.
Thanks for watching.